All right, this is 7-3 continued. This is the back of those notes. So the first four are going to be review of what we did on the first side. The bottom, these four are going to be an extension of that, and then these bottom ones are a whole nother ballgame. So we're going to do the same thing that we were doing. Maybe if I can get my camera situated here. Not to the floor, dingy. There we go. All right, 5x times x gives you 5x squared. 5x times a negative y gives you a negative 5xy. Now come through, I'm just going to use a pencil here, and distribute your 4y. So 4y times x, do you see how this is written 5xy? We're going to write this one in the same format. So plus 4xy. And then 4y times a negative y is a negative 4y squared. And if you need to write it out, if you need to write out your multiplication of 5x times, I forgot my x, good golly, Miss Molly. If you want to do 5x times x, and then plus 5x times a negative y, and then you can write it out like this if you need to. Otherwise, just simplify as you go. But our like terms are right here. So you get 5x squared. That gives you a negative xy minus 4y squared. Am I allowed to put a negative 1xy? So can I have a 1 here? Yes. Do I need one? No. Number 12, the pencil lead. You've got 2a times a, which gives you 2a squared. Then you've got 2a times a negative 4b. That gives you a negative 8ab. So right here, we're going to be multiplying a and b again. So that's going to give us a 5ab. And then 5b times a negative 4b is a negative 20b squared. Oops, there we go. Like terms are right here. That leaves you with 2a squared minus 3ab minus 20b squared. So, like I said, this should be just an extension of what we did on the front of this page. 2r times 2r is 4r squared. 2r times a negative s is a negative 2rs. S times 2r is a positive 2rs. And s times a negative s is a negative s squared. If we're looking at that, our middle terms, if you've got a plus and a minus, they always cancel out. That leaves us with 4r squared minus s squared. It's really important to get this down pat, mainly because here in a couple sections, we're going to be undoing this. So in a couple sections, we're going to start here and go to here. And that way we know how to go backwards and forwards, because that is extremely important in algebra and algebra 2. Number 14, 4c times 7c. 4 times 7 is 28, so 28c squared. 4c times a negative 2d is a negative 8cd. A positive d times 7c is plus 7cd. And d times a negative 2d is a negative 2d squared. Our like terms are right here. 28c squared minus cd minus 2d squared. And again, if you feel more comfortable putting a 1 right there, be my guest. So these bottom four, 15 through 18, what is different about them is you don't have two binomials written. There are two binomials, but they're not written out for you. You have to understand that they are there. So what it wants you to get is this exponent, that 2. That means there's 2 of those. So that means we've got x plus 4 and x plus 4. So you're going to have to write it twice and then go through and do your foiling. X times x is x squared. X times 4 is 4x. 4 times x is 4x. 4 times 4 is 16. Our like terms, x squared plus 8x plus 16. So every time that you see a squared, you are automatically going to write it twice. P minus 7, P minus 7. The pencil lead is about to drive me insane, boys and girls. So P times P is P squared. p times negative 7 is a negative 7p. Negative 7 times p is negative 7p, and negative 7 times a negative 7 is a positive 49. From there, p squared minus 14p plus 49. All right, 17, write it twice. 2m minus 5, 2m minus 5. 2m times 2m is 4m squared. 2m times negative 5 is a negative 10m. Negative 5 times 2m is a negative 10m. And negative 5 times negative 5 is a positive 25. From here, combine your like terms. So this one, pay attention, it's kind of like the one over here. Negative 10 minus 10. So you're going further into the negative, so a negative 20m plus 25. And then 18. Write two of them, a plus 3b, a plus 3b. There we go. A times a is a squared. A times 3b is 3ab. 3b times a is 3ab. And 3b times 3b is 9b squared. Combine our like terms, a squared plus 6ab plus 9b squared. And always remember, when we're combining like terms, our exponents stay the same. Don't ever change your exponents unless you're doing multiplication. So those, you should have a pretty good grasp on these. It's these next four that take your knowledge and expand it. So if you notice, you've got a binomial by a trinomial. And if you don't remember, it tells you binomial by a trinomial. You've got 2 terms times 3 terms. You're doing the same exact thing. This just takes a little more writing. You're distributing each term over here to each term over here. So we're going to start, and we are going to do x times x squared. Well, let's write this first one out. So you're doing x times x squared plus x times 3x plus x times negative 6. Then you're coming back through and you're distributing the 4. So plus 4 times x squared plus 4 times 3x plus 4 times negative 6. So these problems end up being kind of long. If you have x times x squared, you get x cubed. X times 3x is 3x squared. X times negative 6 is negative 6x. 4 times x squared is 4x squared. 4 times 3x is 12x. And 4 times negative 6 is a negative 24. You have to take your time on these. You have to make sure you're getting your signs correct, because now you've got to combine like terms and you've got a lot of information here. So that is the only x cubed you've got. There are no other x cubed. So I'm going to cross it out. Go to your squares. You've got a 3x squared and a 4x squared. Well, 3 plus 4 is 7. So I'm done with them. I'm going to cross them out. I've got a negative 6x and a positive 12x. Well, 12 minus 6 is 6. And then I've got that negative 24 left over, and I'm just going to bring it down. So again, these just take a lot of A, writing, and B, meticulous paying attention. So on number 20, let's see. We're going to do k times k squared. Sorry, I'm trying to get this where you can see it, and it's kind of hard. So k times k squared is k cubed. K times negative k is negative k squared. K times negative 8 is negative 8k. Then you go through. Negative 5 times k is negative 5k squared. Negative 5 times a negative k is a positive 5k. And negative 5 times a negative 8 is a positive 40. From here, combine like terms. That k cubed comes first. There's nothing else. Go to your squareds. A negative k squared and a negative 5k squared gives you a negative 6k squared. Cross it out, we don't need it anymore. A negative 8k and a positive 5k gives you a negative 3k. Cross it out, we don't need it, and then plus 40. Number 21, we are doing 3a times 5a squared. So 3 times 5 is 15, so it's 15a cubed. 3a times 2a, 3 times 2 is 6, so 6a squared. And 3a times negative 6, which is a negative 18a. Now come back through. 1 times 5a is 5a, or 1 times 5a squared, sorry. 1 times 2a, and 1 times negative 6. My like terms, have you noticed so far that every single time I've got a cubed and I put that cubed out front? Easiest way to do it. So 6a squared and 5a squared, 6 and 5 gives you 11. Negative 18a plus 2a is a negative 16a. Cross them out, we're done with them. Bring down that minus 6. So most of the time that you do these, you're always going to have a singleton out front and out back. These two terms, we are almost always just going to immediately drop down. It's what's in the middle that we've got to kind of muddle through. And then our last one for today, because we are skipping this. That's geometry. Y'all are in Algebra 1, not geometry, so we're not worrying about that. 22. You've got, oh, nope, I need to come back up here. 2v times 4v squared. 2 times 4 is 8. V times v squared is v cubed. 2v times a negative 3v is a negative 6v squared. 2v times negative 6 is negative 12v. Come back through. 3 times 4v is plus 12v squared. Sorry, I forgot the squared again. 3 times negative 3v is a negative 9v. And 3 times a negative 6 is a negative 18. From here, bring down that 8v cubed. Negative 6v squared plus 12v squared is 6v squared. Negative 12v minus 9v. They're both negatives, which means we deal with a bigger negative. Negative 21v, and then bring down that negative 18. And that is it, boys and girls. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, okay?